We are back now at 7:12, and both former President Donald Trump and Vice President Kamala Harris have pledged to eliminate taxes on tipped wages for service workers. Harris made that announcement this weekend in Las Vegas. Trump announced his plan to eliminate taxes on tips back in June. Joining us this morning to discuss this is our 9 News legal expert, Whitney Traylor. Whitney, good morning.
Good morning. Good to see you.
Good to see you as well. Now, before we get into Harris and Trump's proposal, let's talk about the current rules. What is the law on taxation of tips?
Well, right now, the law is that you have to essentially report any income that you receive. So if you receive more than $20 in tips in a month, you're supposed to report that. And then the employer maintains their payroll records, and the government takes out taxes on both income and payroll. And that goes towards Social Security and Medicare. So right now, employees are required to report their tips if it's more than $20 in a month.
And you said this is a fairly recent law.
No, the notion of
getting rid of it.
Getting rid of the taxes on tips, yeah.
Okay, understood.
Yeah.
Now, both candidates, as you just mentioned, are proposing doing just that, getting rid of the taxation on tips. What's the difference in the two plans?
Well, we don't know yet because there's not a lot of details in the plan. So President Trump came out with it first, and this was when he was stumping in Nevada. And of course, there's a large workforce that receives tips for their primary salary. So he proposed it first, and then Kamala Harris proposed it just a couple weeks later. And she had a few more details saying that, because part of the issue is people are concerned that, investment bankers and lawyers and other things would shift their wages and claim that they're tips so that they're not taxed. And so she had a few more sort of regulatory. She wanted to work with Congress to make sure that there's guardrails to protect that. So politically, this is sounds great. And the politicians, Ted Cruz had proposed a bill earlier, but from an economic perspective, economists are not as happy about this.
And tell us a little bit more about that. What are their concerns?
Well, I think there's three concerns, and it's equity, efficiency, and revenue. So right now, the tipped employees, if you're looking at lower paid employees and you're trying to help them out, there's such a small portion that just rely on their tips. It's about 5% of the workforce, or about 400 million. And of that percentage, only 37% of them don't even pay federal income tax because they make so little. So if you're trying to help a broad base of lower income workers, this is a very limited pool of people. From an efficiency perspective, it's how do you do it? What is classified wages? What is tips? And how do you kind of guardrail for these investment bankers and lawyers and things like that? And then from a revenue perspective, the economists are saying, and this is kind of across the board, that it would be about $100 to $200 billion over the next 10 years that would be lost in tax revenue. And of course, a lot of that goes towards Social Security and Medicare. So there's some real concerns the economists have.
Okay, so this is just a brief overview of what we're seeing right there. But of course, as the plans develop, we're going to see kind of both how these two candidates move on with this. We appreciate you helping us understand a little bit more, Whitney. Thank you very much for your time.